Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the hearing. I appreciate y'all's participation today. The subject of the high cost loans is something that I wonder about. What is the logic behind that?
Do you
The
mean
logic behind the concept of high interest or high cost loans and why we're going to regulate those?
high cost loans? Are you talking about under
The
the
Section
HOPA?
1431, I think.
With regard to high cost mortgages under HOPA? So HOPA is an existing regime that applies to certain loans depending on their points and fees.
Yeah, just get down to
or
the
their
fine
interest rates.
tuning part of why is it there?
It was there because there were a number of practices with regard to refinancing that were problematic in prior decades. Congress
Okay, you're just
enacted
trying
a
to
law.
stop
Then
corruption from occurring, basically, the high cost, people jacking up stuff. So, who on your staff is specialists on manufactured housing?
we have a number of people who've worked on manufactured housing.
Now, who is the specialist? Who is the one that represents this loan type as you have these discussions? What's the name?
We had a team of people that
Now,
report to
you
me.
lead that team?
They report to
Okay,
me.
so.
Yes.
So you understand the economics of originating loans. Basically, it costs the same thing to originate a $200,000 loan as a $20,000 loan.
We analyzed this question throughout
yes.
the rules.
So when
we
you
do understand, and we adjusted the thresholds for points and fees based on the size of the loan because we realized that was a concern. The Dodd-Frank Act changed the thresholds and changed the coverage for high-cost mortgages. We implemented the statute as directed and have made adjustments.
So you're telling me that the people who quit making trailer house loans are interpreting incorrectly because they're coming under the high-cost loans now because the cost of origination of the loan is the same whether it's a $200,000 house or a $20,000 mobile home. That percentage then mathematically works out to be above the threshold, and so most of the banks in New Mexico have quit making loans for trailer houses. 50% of the people in New Mexico live in trailer houses, so you've effectively shut off the mortgage market to basically half of New Mexico. We have an average income of $31,000 to $35,000, something in that range. So what you have is a de facto war on the poor, and I just wonder if anybody up there is thinking about it, and who is the person saying, well, we can't quite do this because we're shutting off these poor people that were making $20,000 and $30,000 loans. They're just in there trying to get into something. So who is it is that you, Ms. Cochran?
We looked at this issue intensively during the rulemaking for the high-cost mortgage loans, and I'd be happy to talk to you about our analysis.
I'd be happy.
We made
for you
adjustments with regard to both the points and fees and the rates thresholds for high-cost mortgages to account for the fact that manufactured housing has certain unique features, and also that smaller loans in general have certain costs to originate. It's something we thought a lot about, we requested data on, we looked very hard at. We have heard from some people that they will cease to make loans if they are above the threshold.
I'll just tell you, almost
something
every
that
bank in New Mexico, and in fact, the one bank who still does it, Texans are coming across trying to borrow money out of New Mexico. So even, across the state line, it's the same. The second, and by the way, I would gladly invite you to our office to discuss this because it's a serious problem for us.
We would welcome that. Thank you.
The second question is, so you have these QMs, and then you have a director with McHenry's footnote who says, don't worry about it. Who's going to decide who should have worried about it? In other words, people make non-qualified mortgages. Who's going to decide whether or not they come up against some action or not? Is that the agency? Is that you all?
If there's a violation, it could
No. Mr. Cordray says go ahead and do those loans outside the QM. We've created a little box here, but go ahead and feel free to step outside. Who's going to decide you shouldn't have stepped outside the box? The reason I'm asking the question is we have an administration that's willing to check your Internal Revenue Service returns. They're willing to subpoena all the records for the AP, not just the one or two people, but everybody in the entire workroom. They've released information on the whistleblowers in Fast and Furious and tried to discredit them. And I wonder, is this same administration going to be the one who decides Who shouldn't have stepped outside the box and who should have stayed in the box? That's my question, but I think it's more rhetorical.